Welcome to an off-season edition of Jay's Sports Bar. Special guest joining us in-house, Dirk Koetter. You've lived in Boise for quite some time, but your first time up to the KTVB studios, apparently?
Yeah, I'm impressed, man. Jay's Sports Bar, I can't wait to have a couple of cocktails right after we're done.
How weren't you ever on Mark Johnson's Sports Bar? I don't think it was ever a thing, but I can't believe he never drug you up to the studio for anything.
What's going on with Mark Johnson? Boise Channel 7 Sports has just come so far since Mark retired. Mark actually just texted me within the last 2 days, and Mark's the man. Everybody in Boise knows that.
Yes.
He's busy on his MC circuit and in the semi-professional golf circuit. So, Mark's the best, and Jay, you've done an awesome job carrying on.
I appreciate it. This is Jay's Sports Bar. So now that Saturdays will look a little different for you in the fall, what drink, do you like to enjoy while, consuming a football game and not having, be at the controls of an offense?
I don't know. When I'm watching a game, I'm pretty locked in. So
okay.
I might enjoy a cocktail or two, maybe a tequila soda, maybe a Coors Light, but not getting too crazy.
I remember you joking around after the San Diego State game. About halftime, you were like, I wish I was up in Stucco with the Coors in hand. So I don't know who we got to talk to, but I think you should have lifetime bottomless Coors or something like that. We'll see if we can make it happen. What is the week after the season like? I know that you have a different schedule than I do, but it's pretty grueling during the season, and you almost have this anxiety that you're not doing something once all the chaos is over. But what is the week after like?
There's plenty of people out there with stressful jobs, but you're just on such a tight timeline during the season. I mean, there's your tip, what do you do on Monday? What do you do on Tuesday? What do you do on Wednesday? And when it ends, all of a sudden, it's like clockwork. And I was mentioning to you earlier, I talk with Andy Reid for the Chiefs about this almost every year. It's just like clockwork. Your body kind of shuts down on you, and you get your postseason cold that lasts about 2 weeks. And I'm right in the middle of it. I'm sure I'm going to have to excuse myself for a cough at any minute. But your body's a little bit worn down, and you got to get used to being able to sleep maybe 7 hours a night instead of more like 4 or 5 hours a night.
Mm-hmm. Did you have fun this year, Dirk?
I did. I had a lot of fun. I had a ton of fun this year. I joke about it. The coaches that I worked with, the game day setup, the fans, obviously the players, tons of fun. And it's also more fun when you're winning. Mm-hmm. I mean, 12 wins is a lot better than 2 wins. But the preparation is hard, all right? The preparation is long, especially as you get into the season. We were playing Penn State in that Fiesta Bowl. They'd already played 14 games. Mm-hmm. That's just a lot of tape to get through, and you're always afraid you're missing something. So let me watch one more. And anyway, I had a lot of fun.
What was like a typical day for you, like being back as the offensive coordinator?
Well, the weeks are front end loaded. So you play a game on Saturday. On Sunday, you put that last game to bed. You grade the film. The head coach wants to know what everybody's grade was, et cetera. You bring the players in, you watch it, you make corrections. But as assistant coaches, you're right into the next opponent. Mm-hmm. And everything's front end loaded. You have a schedule like when do you have to have your first down game plan done, your second down, your 2-minute offense, your third down, your goal line, your short yardage. And that all continues on throughout the week. But it has to be done ahead of time so that then you can make your scripts for practice. You can make your cut-up tapes to show the players how they're going to learn the game plan. And, it's Sundays, Mondays, and Tuesdays are long days for a college football coach. It gets a little bit better towards Thursday and Friday. Obviously, Saturday's payday, and we got paid 12 times.
Did you ever imagine when you came back to Boise that you would spend almost 2 full seasons as the offensive coordinator at Boise State?
No, I didn't see that coming. 2 different sets of circumstances in 2022, and then this year in 2024. Didn't see it coming. I don't regret any of it. I mean, the players keep you young, and I'm not young anymore, so I need all the help I can get.
So what was different about this time as opposed to inheriting it in the middle of a season in 2022? What was different this time?
Yeah, the main thing, I was there through the whole thing. I was there for spring football. I was there for training camp. I was able to work with the other offensive coaches, which, by the way, Boise State has an awesome group of assistant coaches on both sides of the ball. Easy to work with, fun to work with, but I was there for all of it. Instead of coming in, missing spring ball, missing training camp, missing the first 4 games, and then taking over mid-year, way different assignment.
When did you know Maddox Madson was going to be somebody that you could really lean on, rely on, and hold accountable on game day, because I would assume it came long before the quarterback competition of this August, if you will.
Yeah, I knew in 2022 when I came back, and at that time Mad Dog was a true freshman, and I could tell just by observing him in the meetings, watching him on the field, that this guy had all the characteristics that winning quarterbacks have. He's a competitor. He's tough. He can see the field. He knows, he has really good on-field awareness. And so, going into this year, even when we got the whole transfer thing with Malachi coming in, I knew if Malachi was going to beat Mad Dog out, he was going to be pretty good, because it was going to be tough to beat Mad Dog out. And at the end of the 23 season, before he got hurt, Mad Dog got some experience. He was splitting time with Talon, and actually got to start a couple games before the injury. So I'd seen enough to know that if somebody was going to beat him out, they were going to have to be pretty darn good.
I hate vocalizing the minority, and it's like whenever people on social media, they vent or they talk about things, like we can make it to be like this loud noise, but it really is just this minor group, right? When it comes to Maddox Madson's potential, everybody wants to say, oh, he needs Ashton Jeanty to be successful. And hey, I think we all need Ashton Jeanty to be successful, if we're being honest, right? It certainly helps. But what is the potential of Maddux Madsen?
When I hear people say that, they either base that on height or they base it on arm strength. And, well, guess what? There's plenty of quarterbacks that don't have great height, and there's plenty of quarterbacks that don't have great arm strength. Matt Ryan being one. Matt Ryan's 6'5", does not have great arm strength, and threw for 36,000 yards in the NFL. There's so much more to playing quarterback than height and arm strength. Sure, those are nice things to have. Being able to run like Lamar Jackson, that's a nice thing to have too. But I use this all the time. Bill Parcells says, more games are lost than won. So your quarterback touches the football every play. So the quarterback's main job is to not lose a game for you, let alone be the guy that wins it for you.
I was actually going to bring that quote up later, because I do want to talk about the Fiesta Bowl and the outcome of that a little bit. But focusing on Maddox, first quarterback to throw for 300 yards against Penn State this year. He's actually only one of two Group of 5 quarterbacks to throw for 300 yards against Penn State during the James Franklin era, which goes back to 2014. He's the first Boise State quarterback with over 3,000 yards and over 20 touchdowns in a season since Brett Rippon in 2018. So, I mean, it's been a little while. Going into this season, I think, like, for me, and, the storylines that the media loves to kind of drum up and follow, was simply keeping a quarterback healthy this year. And so you'd have continuity and consistency at that position. How much did that help you guys go 12-2 this year?
Absolutely. Continuity and health at every position. When you're playing now, if Penn State goes all the way, they're going to play 17 games.
That's wild to me.
I mean, Broncos,
that is a full NFL regular season schedule.
That's a full schedule, and there's no waiver wire.
Right.
To pick guys up.
Yeah.
We played 14 games this year, and it's hard to keep your team healthy. There's some luck involved there. There's a lot of different factors that go into that, but we all want a quarterback that runs. I mean, you know what? On every level, the hitting is real out there, and that's one thing that I don't know if you can always tell in the stands, but the hitting is real, and that wears on your body. And there's some luck involved in that too. But Mad Dog was able to stay healthy, and sure, we were a run-first team. That's the way the 2024 team was built. It was built around a powerful offensive line, tight ends and wide receivers that could block, and a very explosive, talented running back. That was going to be our ticket to winning games. That was going to be our best chance to win games. That doesn't mean that's going to be it moving forward in 2025.
Yeah, although I think it could potentially be that way again in 2025.
It might be.
You say the hitting's real. I remember my first college game as a reporter. I was like a junior at Washington State, and it was my first game on the sideline. And there was a guy quarterbacking Washington State at the time. His name was Alex Brink. And he was the guy that kind of came in after those back-to-back 10-win seasons. So expectations were just insane at that point in time. And, man, Alex, that guy, he fought his tail off. He always prepared. And I think they were taking on Oregon, which he's from Oregon. And he walked off the field, and, he was getting booed or whatever. I didn't think I was going to tell the story. But I just remember, the first time that he took off in that game, and I was like, oh man, he's going to pick up a first down here. Picked up 2 yards, got absolutely annihilated. And I remember thinking to myself at the time, the speed and the contact was so real. How's he going to get up and do this again? Got up, did it again, right?
Believe it or not, I know Alex Brink, and I from my time at Oregon, and then when I came to Boise State, and then even into the NFL.
He was recruited to Boise State, wasn't he?
We tried to get him at Oregon. We tried to get him for sure at Oregon, and then the transition. But Alex Brink, that is a reasonable comparison to Maddux Madsen, and Alex Brink had a cup of coffee in the NFL, and we don't have to judge everybody by are they NFL players. I mean, Kellen Moore wasn't the greatest NFL quarterback we've ever seen. Hopefully he gets a head coaching job in the NFL. But he won 50 games in college. And, well, let's see. Right now, Mad Dog's something like 14-2. 2 more years. I mean, that's still pretty darn good.
I know that you don't have to make this decision in the future. Is he the guy that can lead this thing? I mean, like, kind of laid out the stats and stuff right there. I mean, it certainly seems like it would suggest he is. And another thing, too, Dirk, is in a way, we hear jokes like, oh, yeah, if Mad Dog was 6'1 or 6'2, he'd be playing in the SEC or something like that. In the NIL era, he also kind of seems, and I hope this doesn't necessarily come off as something that would be demeaning, he kind of seems like what you would want. He's not perfect in terms of the tangibles, because if he was, somebody would be paying millions of dollars from somewhere else, but he's imperfectly great for Boise State, where he's not, the measurables aren't awesome, but man, does he still produce at a high level? I mean, Boise State couldn't afford him if he was 6'2".
Well, let's look at your Washington State Cougars.
Yeah.
John Mateer was just ranked as the #1 guy in the portal this year, and the rumors are that Oklahoma is paying him $4, $5, $6, $7 million to go there. Well, the Broncos kicked the crap out of Wazoo this year. I mean, that wasn't even close at the end. We beat them by 3 or 4 touchdowns. And so if Mad Dog were have to enter the portal this year, would he have had suitors? Absolutely. But I see your point, but recruiting moving forward is changing no matter how we slice it. And you asked, the question was, can he be the guy to lead us in the future? Absolutely, he can. He's already proven that. But with that said, Coach D and the rest of the staff down there, just like at every position, you don't think they're out there trying to find a running back better than Ashton Jeanty or a quarterback better than? That's how your team gets better, by increasing your talent level and creating competition within your own team.
You lost your backup quarterback, Malachi Nelson, prior to the bowl game, and so you were down to your third stringer as your backup there, potentially a former walk-on, if you will. But what do you make of Malachi's season and transferring to UTEP and trying to get on the field there?
The one thing that I'll say about that is that Malachi, when he told us that he was leaving, and that was mostly conversations that Malachi and his father had with Coach Danielson. But the one thing Malachi never hid was that he was going to do whatever it takes to get on the field, that he needs to get on the field. I admire that because he was at USC, pretty good football program, comes to Boise State, another pretty good football program, and to get on the field, he's going to UTEP. Now, I have UTEP in my blood, and so the people in El Paso, I have much love because they supported us, and we won games when we were there. But UTEP is not a good football team, and they're not a good football program traditionally. So that just shows you that Malachi, he's doing everything he can to get on the field. I'll be rooting for him hard. I think it's going to be an uphill climb because you got to have good players around you. And, God bless him. I'm rooting for him hard.
What will you remember most about this season coaching Ashton Jeanty?
Just what a good person he is, and with all the awards, all the accolades, all the stats, the amount of media interviews and requests that he had, probably should have won the Heisman. But all that said, what a grounded young man he is, a tribute to his family, and just so well grounded, and as a parent, as a coach, as a fan of Boise State, man, that's what you want your guys to be like.
Can you bring this to life for us a little bit, Dirk? Because I think a number of times this year, that's what we've heard. And if you are around Ashton Jeanty in any way, shape, or form, it takes you like a second to understand, like, wow, he really is as humble as they say. But just to bring it to life for us a little bit, you've coached in the NFL. you've coached guys that I don't know, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I would assume once you get to that level and guys are making millions of dollars, they can become, kind of prima donnas or have certain requirements of whether it be workloads, play calls. I don't know what it is. But can you bring that to life to us just a little bit of what makes Ashton Jeanty such a good person?
Well, I'm going to go back and say it starts with the way he was raised and his folks. And, you saw in your coverage of the Heisman, you guys brought a light to his mother and father.
Great people, awesome people.
Yes, so there it is right there. And then for Ashton to come here, play as a true freshman, and second year split time with George Halani, another running back that's not too bad. Mm-hmm. And then just to be the main flag carrier this year. And, I would ask Ashton every week, how many do you have in you this week? And he'd always have the same answer, whatever we need. And that's just what you appreciate about him. And yet he was always quick to give credit away to the guys that blocked for him, starting with the O-line.
Shout out to Pam and Harry, Ashton's parents. With Ash, it's almost the cliche that we lean on you for, because we always like you to compare him and all these things. And Maurice Jones-Drew is definitely the comparison you've brought up before. But with the NFL, how it has evolved, and it seems like the running back position is kind of creeping in after what Saquon Barkley and Derrick Henry did this year.
Yep.
Do you think that what he did in college will just translate to the NFL? Because that's another thing too. Like, I also don't think the common fan understands how big of a jump that actually is.
It is a big jump. Ask Urban Meyer. It's a big jump. Mm-hmm. And do I think Ashton's game will carry over? Yes, absolutely it will. But there's a lot of good backs in the NFL. I mean, you're talking there's 32 lead backs in the NFL. Some team is going to pick him and make him their lead back. And they're probably going to do it in the first round. And we've had one other first round back in Doug Martin, who, Doug Martin, when I was in Tampa, fortunate enough to coach Doug, and he led the league in rushing 1 year. But the shelf life of these guys in the NFL is short-lived, and there has been a nice resurgence this year. More teams are going back to running the ball, and I think Ashton is going to have a fantastic NFL career. Knock on wood that he continues to stay healthy.
When you look at just the future of college football, you having experience with salary cap and all these things in the NFL, and you look at like where the college game is today. Like, what in your mind, what clarity needs to be provided in order to move forward in a sustainable manner?
Well, college football is headed in the exact direction of the NFL model. Now, the NFL is run by 32 owners, team owners, and they pay millions of dollars to a commissioner to enforce the rules, and commissioner and his staff, and they enforce those rules very strictly. Contracts are binding in the NFL. This whole thing that's going on with Mike McCarthy right now, the coach of the Cowboys, contracts are binding. Right now in college, contracts aren't binding. There is no governing body. The NCAA has no bite right now. Any lawsuit that goes to court against the NCAA, guess who loses? The NCAA. So right now, college is headed towards that model. When that House decision finally comes out officially in April, I mean, everybody's already operating that way, and it goes to revenue sharing, it's still not going to be equal across the board, because some teams are going to fund 105 scholarships in football. Some teams are going to continue to only fund 85. Boise State's one of those. Hey, so you're down 20 scholarship players right off the bat.
My alma mater has even talked about cutting that back to like 79, I want to say, or something like that, which I think is, I mean, you won't talk about things that are alarming. That has me a little bit worried for my alma mater. And if you want to talk about the difference between, I know it just seems like a number. Oh, why not just go to 105 from 85? But that's probably, I don't know, probably $40,000 or $50,000 in total value for a Boise State football scholarship or something like that, I would assume. So you're talking
times 20.
Yeah, talking. And
then we haven't even touched on revenue sharing yet, where they're saying between 20 and 22 million. Most of those big schools, 75% of that 20 to 22 million, so around 15 million, is going to football. That's their salary cap. Well, right now in the NIL world, Boise State's salary cap is around 2 million. All right, and so what's happening right now is teams with bigger salary caps are calling your best players that still have eligibility, and they're paying them 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 times depending on how good they are, what Boise State can pay them. And hey, hats off to Ashton Jeanty for turning down the money. But is every kid, every family going to do that? You can't blame people that aren't doing it. I mean, you know, in all walks of life, people jump at the money. Heck, I jumped at the money when I left Boise State to go to Arizona State. I mean, they quadrupled my salary. And, you know, that might have been a mistake in retrospect, but, I mean, I did it. And people are going to continue to do it in all walks of life.
So these are words from me, by the way, that, you know, when it comes to NIL offers, I've heard stuff thrown out there. There might be a guy on this current team that got very similar offers that Ashton Jeanty got to leave this offseason. Can Boise State sustain this off of a $2 million NIL fund?
No, they can't. And hats off to Spencer Danielson, to Jeremiah Dickey, because they're working their tails off to make it better, the whole staff. But to keep your best players every year, the fact that Boise State only in this go-round only really lost one contributing starter type player. Now, they also gained 6 or 7 players through the portal, but the fact that they only lost one is fantastic, and that's just you can attribute that to the type of guys that they've recruited so far, but that's just going to get harder and harder to do. I'll give you a good example. Boise State, you know, okay, for all the people that want a better quarterback than Mad Dog, and I just told you that we're going to you're trying to create competition at every position. Boise State had a quarterback committed all year. This guy all year. Yeah, I'm coming. 1 week before signing date, University of Georgia comes in, pays him more, and that guy's gone. Well, you've already cut loose all the other quarterbacks you were recruiting, and those guys all committed somewhere else. And now Boise State, in this last signing period, is stuck without a high school quarterback in their class. Now, I'm a big Zeke Martinez fan. I know you are too.
Yeah, Meridian High.
I'm hoping things work out well for Zeke and for the other quarterbacks that Boise State has. But that's just one example of what we're dealing with right now. And there's no rules.
Yeah, I mean, we could even get a little more chaotic with this because another guy that Boise State recruited was a left-handed QB out of Hawaii there for a minute, I believe. And I mean, if that's just not recruiting in a nutshell today, I don't know what is. Where, you know, he shows interest in a number of schools, commits to Cal, decommits to Cal, goes to Oregon, signs with Oregon, practices with Oregon, goes back into the portal, and then is back at Cal.
That's crazy.
Which, by the way, he's going to be coached by Brian Harsin there, and if there's a guy that can coach quarterbacks outside of Dirk Koetter, I think that's a pretty good decision on his part.
Brian Harsin will do an excellent job, and I'm sure they are tickled to death. Brian, along with Justin Wilcox, both two great former Broncos, or ties to the Broncos anyway. Justin Wilcox's dad, Dave, Hall of Famer at Boise State, and I'm sure they're fired up at Cal, but that's just one example of how messed up recruiting is right now.
I didn't think I was going to ask you this today, but what do you think of Hars getting back into it? You've been on the outside, you've gotten back in. What do you think about that? And you know, just for me, you know, the few times that I've got to talk with him, I think that, man, stepping away, it really shines some light on how much pressure's on you guys, like at times. And I just felt like he's going into this thing as refreshed as he possibly can.
Yeah, I'm a Brian Harsin fan. Brian Harsin's an excellent football coach, excellent football mind. That's a great get for Cal to be able to get him. And I'm also excited to see if Brian's son Davis ends up being the starter at my alma mater down at Idaho State. I know they're fired up about him, but man, bloodlines are fun to follow.
Coach Hawkins, Cody Hawkins, doing a good job over there with the Bengals. Shifting it back to just the NIL discussion when it comes to Boise State, you mentioned like the revenue sharing and how maybe there could be, you know, projected $15 million that a school could utilize. Like, what percentage of that do you think Boise State will actually end up being able to utilize? Because their football budget's 20-ish million, 21 million. The entire athletic department's budget's like 42 to, I think it's going up a little bit, almost 50 now or whatever. But so to suggest that they're going to be able to get 15 million out of revenue sharing, that's not feasible for them.
No. I mean, that's that money is going to have to come from outside donations. It's not going to, you know, a good way to look at this is just look at the stadium. Just look at old Bronco Stadium, now Albertson Stadium, and look at the Blameyer football building. Look at the indoor, the Kevin Williams. Look at the press box facility. Now that North End project, man, they're already rolling down there on that North End. Boise State they're fighting the facilities war, and they're doing a great job. They have to pay to keep your best coaches in all sports. It costs money. Cost of everything is rising up, and Boise State fans have always answered the bell. Always answered the bell on whatever the next project was. Well, the next project is going to be helping the coaches keep the best players in Boise. It's just, they're not going to get it anywhere else. It's going to have to come from privately raised funds.
Yeah, I don't know how transparent you can be. I mean, technically you are on the outside looking in now, but how real is the threat of other schools reaching out? And I mean,
100%, 1,000%, it's done.
I think, you know, what was about a month and a half ago, you know, kind of leading into the Mountain West Championship game, when Boise State was still playing, but maybe other programs are starting to focus on the transfer portal and things like that. And Spencer said, oh, yeah, there's 13 of our guys that have been contacted.
Yeah, Spencer is the one that's more privy to those discussions than I am, but it's definitely happening. And these schools are reaching out through the secret agent channel, and more college players now are seeking representation just for their NIL deals. And then the other thing is they go through family, they go through parents, they go through high school coaches, and maybe they reach out to his old high school coach, and then that high school coach talks to the player and says, hey, you can get XYZ at Oregon, for example. And we had one of our top players on defense that was offered a ton of money last week to go to Oregon. I know that's true, and it's the world we live in right now. And this is my opinion. Boise State's always going to be able to be a top competitor with their peers in their conference. That's good. That's a given. But for Boise State to be on that national stage, be that one team that gets in the 12-team playoff every year, that is going to be tough to sustain for any of the non-Power 4 schools without a bigger NIL budget. Right. And hey, no one likes that. No one likes to hear that. And trust me, these guys are not being selfish. That's just supply and demand, like every other business out there.
That's why it feels like at this point in time, given everything that's going on, I don't know if there is a more perfect guy to lead Boise State football right now than Spencer Danielson.
Totally agree.
10 years ago, if Jeremiah Dickey has to, in the circumstances of 10 years ago, maybe Spencer Danielson probably isn't the guy that he hires last year. I don't know. Maybe he is. At the same time, it just feels like when you look at what's going on right now, you better have a guy at the top that your players love being around, because you're never going to be able to outspend.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, that guy at the top has to be genuine. He has to be somebody that, like you said, the players, they will fight through thick and thin to support that guy. They do that. He has to be a fundraiser. He has to be good with the media, which I never was. He has to be a recruiter. He has to wear a lot of hats. And Spencer is such a genuine person. He's the same guy with the players every day. They respect that. As a parent, my son played at Boise State. As a parent, trust me, I've been around a lot of football coaches. You want your son playing for a guy like Spencer Danielson.
The trajectory that he's on, to coach with passion like he does, I know that takes sweat equity. It also takes a lot of energy.
Yeah, it does.
Can he sustain this?
Let's see if he's still sprinting up and down that sideline when he's 65 years old.
He named your replacement, Nate Potter.
Awesome choice.
What do you think, and why, in your opinion, is Nate the right guy to do this?
Homegrown talent, high school, college, Boise State, All-American, played in the NFL, worked his way up the coaching ladder from the bottom. He started at the bottom. He was a GA. He was quality control. He was a position coach. Now he's got a chance to coordinate, and he's got a great staff around him. Those guys helping him on that offensive staff, those guys are top notch. And Nate is all the cool stuff in the run game this year. That's all Nate. I mean, Nate's the architect of all that, and he's going to do fantastic.
Can you elaborate on that? Because I mean, is the offensive coordinator almost kind of what they say about the quarterback? You know, you get all the blame when it's going bad and all the praise when it's going good. How much did Nate play into the success of what you guys did this year?
A ton. I never worried 1 second about how our run game plan was going to look. That was Nate, Tim Keene, Jimmy Montgomery, our running back coach. But Nate was driving all of that. And I've been doing this for a long time. We did some cool stuff scheme-wise to put our guys in good position. I know all the haters out there think all we do is run up the middle. If you knew how many coaches reach out to me about, man, I can't believe that's really cool how you're doing this scheme. I can't believe how you're doing that scheme. Like, hey, football-wise, we were doing some cool stuff in the run game. We had a great running back. We had some powerful O-linemen, and that was all Nate.
Can they do it again next year?
Sure, they can. I mean, it's going to look different, and you know, they got some really good players coming back at different positions, and that's what you have spring ball for. That's what you have fall camp. Their new quarterback coach will put a spin on, you know, how he's going to improve the quarterback room. I know that Matt Miller, the pass game coordinator, I know Matt's got some ideas in the pass game that maybe I vetoed with my 51% of the vote, just because it wasn't in my area of comfort. And that doesn't mean those weren't great ideas. He has some great ideas that sometimes I just said, we're not going to go that direction right now. But, yeah, they're going to find their own lane, and I'm very confident that a Boise State offense is going to thrive.
I don't want to put unrealistic expectations on the kid. My understanding, Sire Gaines is probably going to walk into that RB1 role next year, and I think the reason why I'm kind of confident believing that, too, is because Sire Gaines doesn't walk. He only knows one speed, right? How good do you think he can be next year?
I think he could be really good, but they are deep at the running back position. You know, Breezy Dubar just never really could get healthy this year. So his return to health, that would be huge. Dylan Riley in flashes as a true freshman. He's got home run speed. And then they're bringing in 2 transfer guys that they're fired up about. So
have some experience, too, playing ball. Malik Sherrod and another kid from Louisville that, you know, he's third on their team, I believe, in rushing yards this year. Yeah,
they're going to be fine. Jimmy Montgomery's an excellent running back coach. And, you know, they're going to continue to stockpile guys at all positions, and they'll put it together in a way that gives Boise State the best chance.
Dirk, I feel like you've kind of gone into this role now where you can kind of have a different voice. If you don't mind, from my observations with you, as a coach and as an observer, you are a little bit different, I would say. Would you agree at all, or?
I'm more experienced.
More experienced?
Yeah.
What do you think of the role you're stepping into?
I don't think too much about it, to be honest with you. I mean, just coming off the season that we just had, like, those guys don't need me. They don't need me. I mean, if they want my opinion, advice, help, I'll be there to give it to them. But they don't need me. I'm going to be a fan first and foremost. I get bored, so I might go to practice once in a while. But yeah, they don't need me. It's time for those guys to take the reins and run with it.
In your Facebook post, you said that you're retired and stepping away.
I am.
But then in the release, we see that you're an offensive analyst, or I can't remember exact terminology of that.
I think it said senior.
Okay.
Yeah. Once it says that word senior in front of that means
do whatever you want.
That means not full time.
So what will that look like?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know what that is. I haven't ever been in that position, but it's definitely not going to look the same as it's looked when I was there full time.
So are you going to be in the stands on game day next year?
I am. Yeah, I'm going to be up in the lows.
Here in Boise or in Texas with watching Davis do his thing?
I'm going to be watching Texas football. I'm going to be watching Boise State football. I'm going to be watching Wyoming volleyball.
Okay.
Those are going to be my 3 teams that I'm all in on.
Why Wyoming volleyball again?
My daughter's the coach of Wyoming volleyball.
That's pretty cool. I forgot about this. I asked you before we jumped on the podcast today about Davis. You got 2 kids in coaching, basically. Is that the advice of dad?
No.
What would dad's advice be? Because I say the same thing. People ask me about my kids going into broadcast. I'm like, I don't know, kids, like, do something. They're so young, they'll craft their futures in a long time from now. But yeah, I don't know if that's for them.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Like, I think you have to follow your passions in life, and hopefully all 4 of our kids do that.
If you don't mind me asking, because I think all this takes a toll on your family. Well, how your wife, how much do you appreciate her throughout this this last year? Because we look at it as like, oh, Dirk's coming back to save the day on offense, but it also means that you're taking more time away from something you probably want to devote more time to.
Absolutely. A football coach's wife spends a lot of time by herself, a lot of time raising the kids, a lot of time, doing the stuff what dad can't always do. And I mentioned to you earlier, it was very strange at Christmas time this year because Texas was in a bowl game. We were in a bowl game. Our daughter and Laramie, they just had our first grandchild. We had none of our 4 kids because they were all going to go to the Fiesta Bowl except for Davis. So we had nobody there at Christmas, and I worked half the day on Christmas. So that was different after 32 years of having kids, and then all of a sudden you got nobody on Christmas morning. That was different for sure. And the wives definitely have to take on a major role, and any coach's wife will tell you that. They have their own network, and they should definitely be saluted, and my wife's right at the top.
I know that leading up to the bowl game, you kind of dismissed, I think the nature of an athlete or a coach is trying to remove emotion from any situation, really. But did you take a moment at all to realize this truly might be the last time you're going up into a box to call plays? Does it mean anything to you? I mean, like, being in it for 42 years, I have a hard time thinking like there wasn't some moment on New Year's Eve that you took a moment. But maybe
Sure.
I'm wrong. Maybe
sure,
you're
of course.
different.
We wouldn't be human if that wasn't the case.
So we can confirm Dirk Koetter's human.
Yeah, I mean, of course you do. Of course you think about that. But, you don't dwell on that. Everything's going to go on. And, I mean, I had my run. I got to coach a lot of great players, coach with a lot of great coaches playing. I counted them up one time, and I was over 140-something different stadiums I played coach games in.
Wow.
And, it's just it was a great experience. But it's just time for something else. You can't go forever, and it's a young man's game, and Boise State is in great hands. And like I said, I'll be one of their top fans.
So this is it. We're going to see Dirk on the sideline again. Was there anybody else that tried to get you to come back down after the season or anything like that?
There was a couple teams that made phone calls, but if I was going to be coaching, I'd be coaching at Boise State.
They need to put you in the Hall of Fame, Dirk. That's my opinion. We'll see. I don't know if you'll. I don't know. That's my opinion, but we appreciate it greatly. I hope that you had fun this last season. I know that. Again, the small minority can have a loud voice, it seems, at times, but I know the greater majority really appreciates the hell out of you coming back, not only in this season, but 2022, because, again, being here for as long as I have, what an interesting 3 years. Like, for all the success that Boise State has had, it felt like they were just fighting for their lives to hang on there for a minute, and then for this to lead to the Fiesta Bowl this year, I would not have predicted that on November 12th or 13th, 2023. It's been a remarkable ride, and you've been a huge part of it.
Well, we're all disappointed that we couldn't get it done. I mean, that game, Penn State's an excellent team, and there's a handful of plays in every game that had they gone a different way, that outcome might have been different. But Penn State was the better team. But to say that for Coach Danielson coming on board and back-to-back Mountain West championships, going to the first ever college football playoff. Here comes 2026 right around the corner, a new conference, and Boise State continues to raise. I mean, I go clear back to the old Big West days, let alone Big Sky days as a player. So, this is an awesome city for college football, and nothing is going to change. They get that North End project done. I've been a small part of it, and going back to 1998, I think the tradition and the culture has just continued to grow. There's a lot of people that have a part in that. Most importantly, the fans, the people that cover the game, and the people that give money to keep it going.
I'll get you out of here on this because I did want to hit on that Fiesta Bowl really quick. As we're driving back to the hotel and I think finally everything's just starting to sink in that happened that night. And I kind of laughed to myself. I said, Dirk Koetter was right. Because there were two things that you said prior to the Fiesta Bowl that were ringing in my head at that time. And one of them is, in all honesty, you lose more games than you win. And the other was about the fact you were more nervous about the time off. I don't know if nervous is the right word, more concerned about the time off than, than actually getting to play. I would say like a Penn State who got not a tune-up game, it was a college football playoff game, but they were used to the speed. And those are two things that I was going back to the hotel that night being like, 31-14, Dirk was right.
The one thing that proved true in the college football, first off, all 4 teams with byes lost, and all 4 home teams in the first round, and we're talking about 100,000 seat stadiums, and sometimes weather might have played a factor, but we just had a long break between the Mountain West Championship game and the Fiesta Bowl, and going against your scout team is a lot different than going against Penn State, and just the speed of the game. It took every team that had that bye, it took them at least a quarter or so to get readjusted to the speed of the game. And at the end of that first quarter, we were down 14-0. After that, we settled in and we played toe-to-toe for most of the second and third quarters. And then once you get to the fourth quarter, there's a little desperation in there because you realize you only got a couple of possessions left and you're down by a couple of scores. So that puts pressure on everybody to maybe make plays they shouldn't try to make. It's the first time it's ever happened that I had this 12-team tournament at the end of the year. I'm sure all the teams that lost in the first round, or like we did in the second round, all those teams are going to learn and grow from that. And one thing Spencer says every time is we're learning and growing. We're learning and growing. And I guarantee you, Spencer Danielson has a notebook. Well, he doesn't do notebook. He does a laptop. He's got on his laptop, he's got notes of what he's going to do different next time they get the opportunity. And hopefully that's 1 year from right now.
Yeah. Real quick, there's been thoughts of a commissioner for college football being thrown out there. James Franklin said Nick Saban. Spencer Danielson has made the case for Chris Peterson. What about Dirk Koetter?
I'm on the Chris Peterson bandwagon for sure. I think Chris has a really good overview perception of where college football is. I talk to Pete at least once a week on that. I think he would be great. Yeah, probably nobody wants that job because, again, unless you have an enforcement arm to back it up, there's too many people out there that don't follow the rules as it is. You got to have an enforcement arm.
Maybe it needs to be Spencer Danielson because that seems like a lifetime of work in order to fix all these problems. But, Dirk, I really appreciate it. I hope you enjoy retirement and a cold can of Coors
Light.
At Coors Light, at the next boise-state football game next fall.
Definitely will do that. In your honor, Jay. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Dirk. This is Jay Sports Bar, serving the Addo sports community.